How's it going out there, YouTube? My name is Jesse, and I am the curator for the Golden Age, and this is Lost Heroes of the Golden Age. That's weird. Okay, and this time we are going to be reviewing the hero known as Fireball. Okay, what are you doing?
What do you mean?
You didn't break in once.
I'm busy reading.
What are you reading?
Pep Comics 12 through 20.
Why?
I'm reading Fireball. What else?
We've already read Fireball. Why are you rereading it?
I'm trying to figure out what fascinates you so much about him.
I thought the hero was interesting. His ability to regulate and control heat. He's even been able to melt metal by just grabbing it, with his heat generation.
Didn't you say that in this review?
Yeah, I did explain some of this in the review.
There's more that you needed to tell us?
No, there's not really much to go out on this intro. The hero's pretty basic. He only lasted 8 episodes. Didn't really have any presence beyond that. He is an MLJ hero. They could always bring him back if they want to. I thought it was a hero with interesting powers. Okay, we are doing Fireball. He had a small presence in the Golden Age. Back at Pep Comics, never made it any farther than a mid-feature. It's really disappointing. The stories were kind of banal and not very interesting, considering the fact that he had very interesting powers. So it's kind of weird that they couldn't make a more compelling hero out of this guy. With the possibilities that they had to do with him, he could have been one of the most compelling characters that they had. But the artist was the same one for everyone, but the stories were never credited to anybody. And if I wrote something this banal, I wouldn't want my name attached to it either. So let's go ahead and cover the hero Fireball. Fireball, Ted Tyler, first appeared in Pet Comics number 12 in 1941. Publisher was MLJ. Now it says it was created by Paul Ryman. Paul Ryman was actually the artist, but there is nobody credited. So it's his artwork, but there is no story creation. What's interesting is in the first issue, even though he has the short shorts, which I don't approve of male superheroes in short shorts. It's a gray outfit, and then the preceding ones, they would be blue after that. There was only so much you could do with gray back then. There's not a whole lot to tell about this hero. He had 8 appearances, only appeared in Pep Comics, never featured story, never featured cover. I guess he did gain some popularity because when he first started out, it was just 5-page stories, which we got through very quickly. And then after that, they turned into 7-page stories. So it was popular enough that they added 2 extra issues they added 2 pages of stories in his comics. The powers were what I thought was actually fascinating, and I'm really, really disappointed that MLJ wasn't able to do more with it or even make more interesting stories. This guy had the ability to absorb and control heat. He could generate his own fire, and he could control how it worked. There's so many storylines to do with him, and most of them were kind of plain and boring. Near the end, they tried to give him a little bit more action, but it wasn't all that intriguing. 2 of the stories were about an insurance fraud and arson scam. Yeah, that's what they went through. Fires on both of them, insurance and arson. It's had the potential to be so much better. The guy can generate and control heat. Now, he wasn't bulletproof, but the bullets would melt before they would get to him, so that made him essentially bulletproof, but that's actually a really silly idea, because even though he could generate enough heat to melt the bullets, it would turn into liquid metal, still be going at the projectile speed of the bullet. So instead of having one bullet come at him, he would melt it and have liquid metal coming at him. It's a great idea. They did not do a whole lot with him. He only lasted the 8 issues. He kind of had a gal Friday at first, a hot blonde that hung out with him. It only lasted a few issues, and at the very last 2 issues, it seemed that the daughter of the fire chief entered the scene, and I think she did know who Fireball... I think both of the girls know who Fireball was, because he looked like he was a fireman at first, and then at one point he had his own office, and then in the last 2 issues, he's on vacation in the city and decides to join the city's fire department, which might have been an attempt to go a new way with him, but he joined in number 19. It was over by the end of issue 20, and that was last appearance. So, starting off what could have seemed like an interesting premise, him and that girl teaming up for adventures to come, it never happened. And this ended before even Archie took the scene. But I guess he wasn't popular enough to keep going. I would have kept reading the stories. I mean, he absorbed, he generated and controlled fire. There was so much that he could do that was even better than half of the heroes that continued on and had more than just 8 appearances. He didn't really appear much after these 8 issues. I know he appeared in the Mighty Crusader storyline, Too Many Heroes. But other than that, they didn't do anything with him, which is really disappointing because he had some great powers, in my opinion. Okay, let's go ahead and cover the first issue. It'll be quick, and you will see what they were trying to do. The Fireball. Fire. The still of the night is pierced by that dreaded cry. Ted Tyler and Engine Company number 5 speed to the scene. We see them pulling up to what we can guess is a chemical company, even though parts of the building's wording is obscured. There's a character who this will be his only appearance, is an arsonist known as Bug. So they send someone up there to, they think he's trapped in the building, so they send someone up there, and it happens to be Ted Tyler. He gets knocked out by the Bug, and the Bug goes like, hee, here comes another victim for my fire. So he knocks him out and throws him into this room of chemicals tied up, and he leaves. And they don't say how he escaped from the burning building. But I guess as the arsonist, he had himself a escape plan. So he gets doused with these chemicals, the whole building collapses, and he actually emerges alive. I mean, I understand the premise of him being able to control fires, but how did he survive the burning? The building collapsed. He was several stories up. I mean, the ability to generate fire, he wasn't particularly strong. He's been knocked out on several occasions. So I don't understand how he comes out of the building that collapsed unscathed. Anyways, at first I didn't think he makes it, and then there he is. And, are you all right? Of course I'm all right. Later, what happened? Where am I? Take it easy, son. You went through a terrible ordeal. Yeah, the building collapsed, and somehow all you did was just faint. Anyways, he asks for a cigarette, and he immediately lights it on fire, not knowing he has control. So he lights the cigarette on fire, but here you see him grabbing the bed sheets and the mattress, and he's not setting them on fire. Anyways, he says that he can feel. Let's see. Chief, the strangest feeling is coming over me. The heat from the fire makes me feel I can put it out by walking through it. Yeah, that's the kind of dialogue you're going to see. So he goes over and he absorbs the fire. The chief tells him that he's got to put this power. My boy, you possess a marvelous power. You must use it wisely. Yes, I'm going to become the hero known as Fireball. Oh, okay. This whole thing gets silly. He's sitting in the office with the chief of police in his costume. Of course he is. They hear about another fire happening from the bug, and I have a feeling of possessing a tremendous leaping ability. Here goes nothing. The fireball leaps to the sky towards the fire. He will never do this again. This is the only time that he leaps like this. And I'm really glad that they didn't follow through with that, because that is completely ridiculous and counterintuitive to his powers. Now they come over here and they catch up to the bug, and it looks like he's actually tossing fire everywhere. He leaps into the building and he puts the fire out because he can absorb the fire. The bug does not like this, so he goes into the building, sees Fireball, and shoots at him, and the bullets melt, and the melting bullets somehow stop all of their forward momentum. He leaps at Fireball, and let's see, my hands are burnt. Haha, hot stuff, aren't I? So, they didn't need an arrow here. It's obvious where the next panel went. He burns his hands. Fireball sets him on fire. So the bug jumps out the window. The city is grateful to you, Fireman Taylor. The department is proud of you, my boy. Let the bug's death serve as a warning to the other enemies of society. The fireball means business. The fireball will be in the next issue of Pep Comics. So I guess they actually did know who he was. He didn't wear a mask. But at other times, they seemed like they didn't know who he was. It gets kind of weird. But that's the first issue. I told you 5 pages real quick. Well, I hope you learned something about this hero. I hope you've been enjoying MLJ month. I have at least one more video for this month if you have somebody that you'd like to see. But I do have an interesting one if nobody makes a request. So, if you make a request, we can do that. If not, I've got a good one. So, until next time, I'll be seeing you.